So, hello everyone, and as you can see, I'm filming from my own car again, and that means I have a piece of good news, and actually I have two pieces of good news. So the first one is I've been accepted into the Deutsche Post Junior Racing Academy, only for the first 6 months though, so a bit on probation you could say, after the less than glorious empty shootout race. But anyway, I'm certainly happy and also grateful that they are taking their chances on me, and the key benefit is I can now provide a bit of sponsorship then for any future team. And that brings me to the second piece of good news. So I have a drive, and I'm actually driving towards that drive, and that's at least the first 4 rounds in the European Touring Car Club Trophy are now being fully funded, and I'm going to race a Seat Leon touring car there for 4 races, and the first race is at the Bilster Berg, which is not too far from where I live, so it's only about a 2 hours drive to there, and it's a track a bit in the sort of Swedish mold. It's a bit longer, and overall looks sort of great. I haven't been able to find it in any sim or anything, so I have no clue. I had the first rollout with the car, and that seems to be great and also easy to drive. But again, I haven't had much experience yet, so it's basically me taking on an unfamiliar car on an unfamiliar track. But I'm of course highly excited then, and probably as curious as you are how this next chapter for my racing career will go on. And also, as a bit of a side note, so if you're interested in more details of that race weekend, so La Racer, who had made a video about the M2 shootout, is also keen to make one about the next steps of my racing career. So apparently that video, despite the not ideal outcome, got sort of pretty good views, and therefore, yeah, let's hope she's going to be a good omen this time. And that brings me the necessary luck that I will do well. Yeah, otherwise I'm not going to do an update when I arrive at the track. As I said, it's only a very short drive from here where I live. So then next will be then, as usual, the run during qualifying, and then a full comment on the race. So with that, all I have to say is now, see you on track, and with a new sponsor, I remember to send it.
Fastest lap for Engstler, 106.21. The guy in front has just done a 106.54.
So here we are during qualifying. So you saw the first corner is a hairpin, then there's this rather fast chicane.
The car in front has just posted a 106.81. New fastest lap for Chilton, 106.09.
Where the sausage curbs are always a bit of an issue. This one goes flat, but it needs the right line. And now we're on the back straight. Going to approach a rather fast corner. That's a bit like the spoon curve in Suzuka, so you need to have a very good exit. So not like this.
The car in front has just done a 107.00.
But that's simply the cold tire, so the tires
B17
in this car need a little bit to warm up. This chicane is very fast, so the car is always at the edge, and then you have to brake for the final corner here during a corner, so it's very easy to upset the car or to offshoot the corner.
We're seeing lots of rear locking.
But you see, I'm decently in the field, and this lap is even better.
16th place. That's your best lap in this session.
So I of course kept going now that the tires heat up properly. So here you see the first corner again, the hairpin. Didn't take this ideal, but then this one much better. So here it's important to get the entry right.
Ahead has just done a 106.68.
Here you have no braking marker, so it's always difficult to know when to push down the braking pedal.
Fastest lap for Thompson, 106.07.
Overall, I'm here, as you can see, on the same time as last time, but hopefully we get now a better exit here. So take all the inside corners and then as early on the gas as possible. And yeah, you see the tenths going down. Excellent. So yeah, you have to be bold and to take the curbs and to trust that the car doesn't want to take a life of its own. Last corner.
Okay, Andy, you're locking your rears a lot.
And you see what the extra boldness through the final section meant. So
P8, that's your quickest
up
lap.
to 8.
That puts you 0.30 off the pace. You've just done a 106.36.
And I simply kept going. And I didn't listen actually too much to the reports from the spotter. I simply kept sort of driving, and after the practice I sort of knew what I had to do. And then here you see I'm half a second up already at this point.
15 minutes left, that's 15 minutes.
Also decent exit here through that chicane. Let's
guy behind has just done a 106.37.
Let's get a good exit here, and I sort of did it. At least I'm keeping the half a second up. Let's be bold again, but here you see, or here rather, that the brake locked up, and then I got scared a little bit, so I lost a little bit here to tenths. But still, this looks very decent. So let's see where I end up.
You're in pole. Sector 3 times okay.
And when I heard that, I sort of emerged from the zone, so from a tunnel you could say, and needed a while to adjust myself, to find myself back in the real world, and to realize, I actually drove the fastest time. It's still early during qualifying. I couldn't better it. I had one moment, though, a bit later.
Yellow flag.
So here you see, and yeah, that of course kills the lap, but I was lucky not to hit him sort of broadside. But otherwise, you see I'm down to 4th. And I've never really come close to the lap time that I did early, so that was simply highly ideal. And yeah, in the zone, in the flow. So I ended up being 4th. And you can see all my Seat teammates and sort of manufacturer mates at the very end. So, but from the sector times, we are sort of similar. Just I was a little bit bolder in the last sector, and overall there isn't that much difference between first and last. And yeah, so of course very happy to be the fastest Seat. And now let's see what I can do during the race.
15 minutes.
So now on the starting grid, getting ready, being a bit unfamiliar with the sequential shift, so I didn't have much chance of practice starts.
Go.
And it shows a bit sluggish off the line, not ideal. Losing 1 place at least.
On your right.
And losing a 2nd place, and yeah, being a bit confused about the braking point as well.
You're on the left, 3 wide.
And just luckily I'm getting that place back, so I only lost 1 place, so now 5th. And yeah, now trying to get into a rhythm, so I'm a bit rattled by this all. Need more starting practice, as it looks. So here, oh yeah, the ladder goes through the gravel, but no positions lost. So apparently it's good as an off-roader as well. So here, it's difficult to overtake because you need to have a better exit. So you have to sort of anticipate when to step on the gas, and yeah, that wasn't it. And this one, does it have a bit of a bent rear bumper, or is it just the general look? Anyway, yeah. So end of first lap, I'm 5th, and slowly calming
Montero, car number 18, is leading
calming
the race.
down a little bit. So these are guys I had fighting, but I also have some BMW
P5, the gap ahead is now 0.6.
looming in my rearview mirror. And I think what happens from now on is that I'm not good at getting into a rhythm, so I guess the inexperience with the car shows it a little bit, and the excitement of having to defend, essentially. Of course I want to get the place back, but I may also just have qualified.
We've had a cut warning. Keep it tidy, please, Andy.
A bit higher than my pace, and yeah, there were a few sort of minor cuts, but the stewarding overall was pretty lax, so nothing really came of it.
Car ahead is Montero, car number 18.
So here the problem is there is
We're seeing lots of left
only one line through that corner, unfortunately, so it's difficult to get alongside. And yeah, here I didn't dare to be as bold and brave as I was during qualifying, and then losing the momentum and not being able to make anything. No, I have a different car in front, but the same problem. Still, at least I'm not under.
The car in front of us is Thompson, car number 10. The guy.
Car right, clear
Not
right.
under immediate pressure from behind, so that's at least one thing. But you notice from the split in the display, I still haven't had a fully valid lap after the opening lap.
Engstler is reeling you in. The gap's now 0.24.
So I'm struggling a little bit finding the right line, a bit sluggish through here. And now the car ahead has gone up a little bit in the distance. I've lost the toe. No immediate pressure from behind, but also, yeah, not really in a striking distance anymore to the cars ahead. Though they're fighting, so am I back into it? Not really, and you see I'm sort of picking the wrong...
Come on, watch these track limits, please, Andy. You need to slow down a bit if you don't want a penalty. New fastest lap for Mitchell is 107.13.
I'm picking the wrong times to be either on the brake or on the gas, so it's generally fine. I'm just missing the last tenths that could make the difference. And not punished right away, luckily, and also the healthy respect for these sausage curbs. Because I've seen some guys in practice of taking off on those, and that's not nice. Yeah, you also see later the gas and then wrong line through here, and all the advantage that I had is then lost again for the straight after. And I think things have settled down ahead as well, so that's not helping me.
We're seeing lots of left rear locking.
And this left rear locking of probably the tire up in the air with these front wheel drive cars, of course. And yeah, use not the ideal brake, so slight lock up, and that also then lose me a tenth or so. So not
Fastest lap for Mitchell is 106.94. The gap to Thompson ahead is now 0.9.
so it's staying so steady, so no one's really making any moves. But that unfortunately includes me as well. Getting a bit more steady, but not really, so that was also not the ideal line through the chicane. At least I put a normal lap on the board. So you can...
10 minutes remaining, 10 minutes. This is okay. Keep those exit speeds up. Watch those track limits or we'll get a penalty.
Yeah, as I said, nothing came of it, so the stewarding wasn't the most strict. Still too many corrections here, so yeah, I'm sort of fine, but there was more potential in it.
P5.
This was a bit bolder now.
White flag, mate.
That doesn't really help.
The guy ahead's last lap time is a 107.04. The gap to McDowell behind is now 0.48.
So the new car behind, McDowell instead of Engstler. But this was a bit better. And you see the split time, how bad the previous laps, or the previous single lap was that I actually managed to put on the board. Everything else was cutting. And again too wide.
Okay, Andy, watch the track limits, please.
This didn't lose me that much, but still. It doesn't really show that I'm settled
You're
down.
locking your left rear.
It was a little bit better.
That's a new fastest lap for Micheli's, 106.54. The guy ahead has just posted a 106.67.
So the gap is slightly growing, and the car in the rearview mirror is getting slightly larger. The axle is dropping back, so it's the car behind McDowell in the rearview mirror is now a fair distance away.
Car left. Clear left.
And where did that one come from?
Sector 1 is yellow.
Which I've already passed, so I didn't really care.
Halfway home, fuel looks good. We're seeing lots of left rear locking.
So this is a nice sprint race. So it was actually a relief to hear the halfway mark, because I wasn't really getting into this race. Not being in the zone as I was during qualifying. Not that this track isn't any fun or anything far from it, but well, it wasn't really my race.
That lap was a 107.11. Good lap. That's your quickest so far. New fastest.
Right side. Clear
Yeah,
right.
a little bit of contact sport, because of course when I'm doing a good lap, then I miss the braking point for the first corner. And McDowell behind, yeah, getting a bit impatient, flashing lights. So apparently I'm holding him up a little bit, and I've also lost another second to the folks ahead. So this sends only 6.5 minutes to go. A little bit of gap to the car behind, so that's decent. This beeping noise is when I'm shifting down too early, so I was still getting used.
We're seeing lots of left rear locking. Watch the track limits. We'll get a penalty if we don't.
Still wasn't 100% used to this sequential shifter, because both the Audi and the BMW had pedals behind the steering wheel. And I've never raced much with a sequential shifter in my sim racing times either. So there was either
Okay, Andy, you've got 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
H pattern or most of the time paddle shifts as well, but not a separate sequential stick. So I would also think of the last few percent that I wasn't fully being in a routine under the race pressure. And yeah, I needed to
Just ignore him, he'll go away.
stand a little bit in the way, and unfortunately, well, it did look like he would go away.
5 minutes remaining, 5 minutes left.
So my eyes were now more to the rearview mirror than anything else.
Sector 2 is 0.27 off the pace.
At least lap times were rather consistent, so that's at least one thing. And I think luckily for me, this track doesn't have that many great overtaking opportunities, so there wasn't much opportunity for McDowell to go alongside and harass me or something. So most of the time there was only one real line. And then you can pull a gap if you're a little bit early on the gas. Such as now, so that was a bit of a relief, that way he wasn't all over me
You're locking your left rear.
all the time. Oh, yeah, so here this was more than on edge during the race. So you really feel the car hanging on onto the suspension, and the tires just hanging on the tarmac.
That was 106.89.
Physics at work. And personal best, so at least something. I was still 2/10 ahead of the even of the personal best, so you can see how ragged the first laps were, and only now towards the end I'm getting into a bit of a routine. And also getting a bit closer to Thompson ahead. Looks like they are dropping off a bit, so I wondered whether I could do something in the final stages of the race, but nope, not with the exits like this. Luckily McDowell behind with a bit of a distance, so that was immediately a problem. So that was better, smoother, less on edge, and always skirting the
We're seeing lots of left rear locking.
The limits of the brakes locking up. Or sometimes a bit more.
Alright Andy, lap times are pretty consistent.
So Thompson's getting a little bit closer, but then again not the ideal corner here, and McDowell is also back at my rear. It looks like someone else in the group in front is a bit slow, because Thompson is now
That's 2 minutes left. 2 minutes.
Getting impatient. Yeah, and this 2-minute mark was highly welcome. So finally a good exit here. But this last bit didn't get any easier over time, basically having just one
You're locking your left rear.
hand on the steering wheel all the time. They still have power steering, so it's not a huge deal, but it's still...
Sector 1 is 0.40 off the pace. Sector 2 is 2/10 off the pace. Sector 3 time is quick.
If you want to stay precise under these high G-force loads that you have there. So I guess I need to have some more practice there as well. So Thompson is being held up, but also this so startled me a bit. So I was struggling here with the exit.
Left side.
And yeah, there it was.
Hold your
A
line.
bit asleep, and
Clear
McDowell was really bold,
Okay Andy, 5 minutes of fuel remaining.
so didn't really
5
see that
minutes.
coming.
Don't panic, we'll get him back.
Which only have one lap to do so. At least there's a fair bit of the gap behind, so I'm not in an immediate danger after this.
P6, 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, that's what not I wanted to hear at this point. Having just lost the place out of, basically nowhere. But with overtaking opportunities as scarce, there wasn't that much I could do at this point.
The guy in front is McDowell, car number 9.
And he's already pulling away, so maybe someone who qualified a bit below their limits, while I qualified a bit above my personal limit. So even with my almost personal best at this point, they're already disappeared a fair bit into the distance. So so I lost 2 places overall, and
You're locking your rears a lot.
had to settle for 6th, but still not too bad for the first race in an unfamiliar car on a track that I didn't know.
6th place, that's the end of the race. We'll get him next time.
And I think also the benefit of having an excellent qualifying, because otherwise I'd be doubtful I could have made much headway on this track where it's not that easy to overtake. And so as I was settled down. I was sort of glad that this was over, and we'll probably need some time to reflect on that, and ideally also more seat time to get used to things under the extra pressure added in a race. And if we look at where all the other Seats ended up, so places from 14 downwards was still the top Seat easily, and the best laps are also pretty decent. I think the major issue on my end was just consistency and being very ragged at the start. But overall, yeah, I think it could have been worse outcomes. So I'm reasonably happy here being 6th at the end. So now that the dust has settled, let's look at the results and the championship standings. So both are of course identical after this being the first race. So I'm in 6th. So yeah, not too bad, and I'm only going to drive the first 4 races at least for the time being, unless I can obtain more funding. So it's more like yeah, some additional nice information where I stand. And now that the dust has settled, yeah, overall I think I can be rather happy with how things turn out. And also it's the first time I really was part of a team, because all the races and the series before were part of sort of one make series where the manufacturer took care of all things. And of course at this point also a big thank you to my team. And it was a really nice experience, not just being one car among many, but so one of 3 that are all very important, and so yeah, I couldn't have certainly achieved that without everyone in the team setting up the cars and giving helpful advice. And yeah, but a pity that all the Seats were at the end, but I guess that's also then the advantage of being in a team, so that we can have a good look into the data why this was the case, and hopefully at the next race the Seats will be further up in full form, and so that we can then compensate for that, and that especially my teammates who will run the full season will have better races. I will still of course keep doing my very best so that I can hopefully stay on longer and yeah, make my mark in this series as well. And yeah, with that said, and with home getting ever closer, all that's left for me to say is see you on track, and remember to send it